today we will discuss about, again we said direct and indirect speech. I'll write it down. We will talk about how to change the questions. If we have questions, especially how many questions do we have? If we have questions, how can we change a question? We have WH questions and also what? Yes, no question. If I have a WH question, how can I change it? And if I have a what question? Yes, no question. How I can change it to what? WH word. Now, if I have, if you have WH questions, what do we do here in WH questions? Now, in questions, mostly the introductory verb is what? Mostly the introductory verb is ask, okay? Or, for example, we can say want, want to know. Mostly the introductory verbs are what? Want to know or ask. Now, if we have WH questions, how can we change? And if we have yes, no questions, how can we change? Now, let's talk about each of them step by step. If I have a WH question like this, look, if I say he asked me, he asked me. If I say what is your job? Now, how can I change this question into indirect question? How can I change it? Now, this is actually this. What do we call this part? Reporting part. What do we call this part? Reporting part. How should I change? Now we bring it down. What do we say? He asked me. Now here in questions, guys, in questions we do not use that. No. Another point. No, that. We do not use what? That in what? In questions. For example, he asked me, what is your job? How can I change it to indirect speech? He asked me, what is your job? Now, if I want to change it, what should I do here? If I want to change, he asked me, bring WH question first. He asked me what? Now, after WH questions, what do we do here? After WH questions, we use the subject. What is the subject here? Subject is what? Your job. What is the pronoun here? Pronoun is your. How can I change? Sorry, your job is the pronoun, is subject. So how can I change it? Your is the second person. Second person changes according to the object. What is the object? Me. So your changes according to the me. So your job becomes what? My job. So we can say what? My job. Now, after that we can change the tense. What is the tense? Tense is simple present tense. How can I change it? What is your job becomes what? What my job was. And we don't put any question. He asked, for example, me what my job was. You can also change like this. He asked my job. Okay? If I have another question, look, if I have another WH question, for example, she asked, for example, for example, when do you come? When do you come? How can I change this question into indirect question? She asked, when do you come? How should I change it now? So here we say she what? She asked. After that, if there is not any object, that object is what? Me. So she asked when we bring WH word. After that, what is subject here? Pronoun. After WH word we find the pronoun. What's the pronoun here? You is used as a subject or object? Subject. Now you changes according to the object. There is no object. Who is the object? Object is the me. So here you becomes what? I. Now what tense is this? Simple present. Simple present changes to simple past. When I what? Came. She asked when I came. If I have another question like this, look. If I say, listen up, if I say they asked him. They asked him, for example, how old are you? Change it to indirect speech. How should I change it now? So we can say, how should I change it? We can say they asked him. Very nice. They asked him, how old are you becomes what? Now we bring how old down. Look, I say we do not use what? That. How old? Now here you. You is the second person. It changes according to the object. What is the object here? Him. So here you is subject or object here? Subject. So what is the subject of him? He. And what tense is this? Simple present. Simple present changes to simple past. How old he was. Step by step. We'll go to them step by step. Or if I have another question, if I say, for example, they asked me WH questions. For example, where did you study? Where did you study last year? Now, how should I change it to indirect speech? They asked me, where did you study last year? How should I change it now? So we bring it down. What do we say? They wanted to know. Okay, they wanted to know, or they asked me. That's also right. They wanted to know. And after that, what do we use? WH word. Bring WH. What is WH word here? Where. After that, find the subject. What's the subject here? Subject is what? You. How should I change it now? You changes to object. What is object here? Object is you, so it changes according to me, and you becomes what? I. Why I? Because you is used as a subject. And now, what tense is this? Simple past changes to past perfect. Why? Where I had what? Studied. And last year changes to, very nice, we discussed about it yesterday, the previous year. If I have another WH questions, no? If I say how, for example, how often did she, for example, come here? How should I change it now? How often did she come here? For example, let's say who asked? Let's say, for example, he asked. He asked. How should I change it to indirect speech now? How should I say now? He asked. He asked. Now after that, what do we use? How often? He asked. How often? Now, how often did she come here? He asked. Now, subject is she. She is the first, second, or third? Third person. Can we change it? No. How often she? What tense is this? Simple past. Simple past changes to past perfect. How often she had come here changes to there. Now, if the place is not clear, actually. Now, this is how we can change direct speech into indirect speech. Direct question into indirect question. Should I give more examples? Okay. Done? Okay. Now let's go and make one more example and how we can change it. If I have a sentence like this, if I say who helped you, how should I change it? Who helped you? For example, who asked? We can say they asked. They asked me. They asked me. After who, we bring who, bring it down. What is subject? Subject is also what? Who. Subject here who, and this is verb, this is object. So subject is again who, we just change the verb. What tense is this? Simple past. Simple past changes to past perfect. Who had helped. Now you is pronoun. You is the second person. Second person changes according to the object. You becomes me. Who had helped me. Sometimes when we have who can be used as a subject, can be used as an object. If I say this one, look, who is teaching now? Who is teaching now? How should I change this one to indirect speech? Look, you can say she asked. Look, she asked. After that, what do we use? Who. Who is subject here? And we don't bring the subject here. Look, who is subject? And here, what do we say? She asked who. Present continuous changes to what? Past continuous. Who is teaching becomes what? Who was teaching. Now changes to what? Didn't. Who was teaching? Didn't. Is it difficult? No, of course not difficult. If I say another one, look. If I say, for example, how much, we can say how much For example, how much does this cost? Change it now. How much does this cost? Change it to. We can say he asked. What do we say? He wanted to know. He wanted to know. After that, what do we use? How much? He wanted to know how much. How much? So, simple present tense. What do we say? After subject. What is subject here? This. So this changes to what? That. How much that what? Cost. What is the past form of cost? Past form of cost is what? Cost. So here, this is how we can change. He wanted to know how much that cost. Okay, question? No question? Now let's go and talk about. Should I come in? This is how we can change a WH question into what? WH question into indirect. A direct WH question into what? Indirect WH question, indirect direct speech. So how should I change? Let's go and talk about how we can change a yes/no question. What is a yes/no question? The answer is yes or no. It's very easy, guys. If I have in yes/no question, we mostly use what? If or whether. If I want to change. For example, if I have a sentence like this. If I say, for example, is he your brother? How should I change it now? Who asked? Could be anybody. Look, you can say he asked. He asked me, is he your brother? How should I change it to indirect speech? He asked me, is he your brother? I can say he asked me. So here, let's say, for example, this time let's say she, because there are two he and this two will be confused. She asked me. Now, what question is this? It's a WH question or yes/no question? Yes/no question. How should I change it now? Here we use if. After if, what should I use? Subject. What is subject here? Subject is your brother. Now your brother is the second person. Your is the second person. It changes according to the object. Your brother becomes what?
Mine.
If my. Sorry, I am wrong. You are forgetting he. Subject is what here? He. You know, why don't you see it? So he is the first person, second or third? Second person. Third person. It doesn't change. What do we say? If he, what tense is this? Simple present changes to simple past. If he was your brother, now becomes what? My brother. Why are you confused today? Now the next question is, he asked. He asked, for example, he asked me. Look, he asked me. He asked me, do you study English? Now, how should I change this sentence into indirect speech? He asked me, do you study English? What do we say? We can say, he asked me. He asked me. After that, what do we use? If. He asked me if you. No. He asked me if. Now here, you. What is you here? You is a subject. You is the second person or first or third person? Second person. Second person changes according to the what? Object. What is the object here? Object here is if you. So it changes according to the me. You becomes what? If I. Why I? Because me is, because you is the subject here. If I, what tense is this now? If I, we can say studied, for example, English.
So do you have extra chairs?
I have chairs. I have a class after that.
You need it. Only two.
Only two? What about the other classes?
So no, we can find.
Okay, you can get these chairs and you have to bring them back. Yeah, get this one. Ask them to come earlier after this time. In the middle of the class, they come and disturb everybody. Don't break the phone. Come late every day. It's very bad. Now, you can say he asked me if I studied English. Now, he asked me, do you study English? What question is this? Yes, no question. So we can use if, and after it is you becomes what? I, because you changes according to the object. What tense is this? Simple present changes to simple past. It's another way. We can also say he asked me. He asked me, and instead of if, why should I use whether? Okay, whether I studied English. Another way we can also say, what did we say? He asked me. He asked me. We can use what? Whether or not I what? Studied English. Or I can also say he asked me. He asked me. So we can say whether, again, whether I studied English or not. Or another one, we can also say he asked me. So we can say if I studied English or not. Now we have all of these possibilities. First one, you can only use if, or you can use whether. You can use whether or not together, or you use whether here or not at the end, and we can use if here or not at the end. All of them are right. You can use all of them in a sentence. So this is the way that we can use it. If I have another sentence, look. If I have a sentence like this, for example, have you ever been to the US? How should I change it? Have you ever been to the US? If I want to change it to indirect, how should I say? We can say she asked whom? She asked him, for example. What question is this? A yes no question. Now here, what is subject here? In yes no question we use if. After is if, what should I use? What is subject here? You. You is the first person, second or third. If it's the second person, it changes according to the object. What's the object here? Him. So she asked him if here you becomes what? He. What tense is this? It's present perfect. Present perfect changes to past perfect. If he had ever been to the US. You can also use like that. We can use whether or not at the end, or if or not at the end. But do not use if or not together in the same sentence. Or if I have another one, if I have another sentence, for example, if I say, did he call you? Did he call you? Who asked, for example, we can say she asked. She asked me. What tense, what question is this? It's a yes no question. What should I use here? If. So if, very nice. This time let's use whether. What is subject here? Subject is he here. So here he changes to what? It doesn't change. Why? Because it's the third person. What should I say? He asked me if, whether he, actually, what tense is this? Simple past. Simple past changes to past perfect. Whether he had called you. Who is you? Second person. Second person changes according to the object. What is the object here? He had called me. That's the way that we can change a direct speech into an indirect speech. Should I clean this part? Yes? If I have another yes no question. If I have a sentence like this, look. Will you come, for example, will you come to my party? Change it now. Will you come to my party? How can I change it to indirect speech? So we can say he asked, very nice. He asked whom? He asked, for example, her. Now, what tense is this? Will you come to my party? What question is yes no question? What should I use here? We use if. Now, after if, we use the subject. What is the subject here? You. You changes to? Yeah, you is the second person that changes according to the object. What is the object here? Her. So you changes to? She. If she, what tense is this? Future. So if she will changes to what? Would. If she would come come changes to actually go here. Sometimes come changes to what? Go. If she would go to what party? She go to my. Who is my here? My is the first. So it's possessive, and here it changes according to the subject. My party becomes what? His party. His party. Now remember, guys, sometimes come becomes what? Go. If I talk about here, you won't come here, and then I use come. But if somebody said somewhere else, come, so going. We don't say actually coming there. Can I say coming there? Please come to Kotsangi. Can I say that? I'm here, and then I have to say please come to Kotsangi? Of course not. What should I use? Go to Kotsangi. And you have to know that how we can change it. Now, if I have another sentence, for example, if I have a sentence like this, he, for example, he asked me, look, he asked me yesterday. Look, he asked me yesterday, and he said, for example, will you, call me tomorrow? Now, how should I change it? He asked me yesterday, will you call me tomorrow? How should I change this one? Now here I have to say he asked me. Look, he asked me yesterday. Now how should I change it now? Here, if you becomes what? I. Will becomes what? Would. Actually, call me becomes what? Call him. And tomorrow becomes what? Today. So sometimes when you change something, you have to remember the logical. We have to remember the things logically. So if somebody asked yesterday, tomorrow of yesterday is what? Today. In that case, what should I say? Or for example, he asked me the day before yesterday, and he said, I will see you the day after tomorrow. And today is the day after tomorrow. And instead of changing to tomorrow the next day, what do we say? Today. So that's same case with that one. So sometimes when you change, you have to remember what is logical. Okay. Now this is how we can change the questions into what? Indirect speech. Do you have any questions here? No? Now let's go and talk about the other ways that we can change a direct speech into an indirect speech. Especially, which parts? Especially when we talk about the imperative sentences. If we have imperative sentences, how can you change the imperative sentences into what? Indirect. How can you change direct imperative into indirect imperative? If somebody says, for example, open the door, or somebody says, for example, close the door. Don't, for example, don't go out. Don't, for example, don't fight. Don't fight. Or if somebody says, for example, go right. Or if somebody says, go left. Now here, if you have imperative sentences, how can you change them to what speech? To indirect speech. Now, how here in imperative sentences, actually, sometimes we have imperative sentences. We have request. We also have instructions. Now, for imperative sentences, mostly we use the verb is what? Order. Or what do we say? Or we can say commanded. For request, we always do that? Requested. Here we say requested, ordered. And for instruction, we can say instructed. Or asked. Now here, if I have opened the door, how should I say now? We can say he ordered. He ordered. Now, if I want to change the imperative sentence, especially these, for positive sentences, what do we use? We use to plus verb. For negative sentence, what do we use? We use not plus to plus what? A verb. That's the way we can change it. Now, how should I change this sentence? Open the door. How should I change it now? We can say he ordered to open the door. He ordered to open the door. Or the next sentence, close the door. How should I change it now? We can say he ordered to close the door. And sometimes we can also, for imperative sentence, sometimes we can also use told. What do we use? Told. Okay. Now here, the next sentence, don't go out. How should I say now? He told us, no? He told us, what do we say? Not to go out. Or the next one, don't fight. We can say he told us not to fight. All of them are orders. But if I say go right or go left, open your books, close your books, they are what? Instructions. What should I say now? We can say he, for example, he actually asked us, no? He asked us to what? To go right. Or he instructed. We can also say he instructed. He instructed to what? To go left. Or if I say another one, for example, if I say can you help me? How can you change it now? Now it's a kind of request. Look, if we have a request like this, we have two ways. It can be used as a question, yes, no question. We can use, how can you change it now? We can say he asked me, come on, if I could, if I could help him. But you can also use them as a request. What should I say now? We can say he requested. He requested me to what? To help what? To help him. He requested me to help him. Now, in questions like this, we have two ways. Well, if I have another one, for example, will you give me a book? Change it now. It can be a request too. Will you give me a book? How should I change now? I have two ways. I can say he asked me if I becomes what? Would give him a book. Or another way. What's another way? I can also say he requested what? Me to what? To give him a book. He requested him to give him what? A book. Now this is the way that we can change a direct speech into what? Into and indirect speech. Imperative sentences. How can you change this one? Write it down. He instructed us to write it down. Okay, write it down. If I say stand up, how should I change it now? He ordered to stand up. Close the door. He ordered to close the door. Any question here? If you don't have any questions, let's go and talk about some other ways, some other things that we have in direct and indirect speech. Now, if I have a sentence, if I have a phrase like this, if somebody says congratulations, or if somebody says thank you, or somebody says, for example, welcome to Star, or if somebody says good luck, if somebody says good morning. There are some other ways. We also have, for example, now if I have congratulations, thank you, welcome to Star, if I say good luck, or if I say, for example, good morning, or tell me some more. Happy, for example, we can say happy birthday. Happy birthday. Now, if I have such phrases, how should I change them? The first one, if somebody says congratulations, how should I say? If it's a she or a he, we can mention it. We can say she what do we say? She congratulated me. And if it's written thank you, what do we say? We can say he thanked you becomes what? he thanked me. If somebody says welcome to store, we can say he welcomed me to store, or welcomed us to store. Or if somebody comes with good luck, what do we say? He wished me what? Luck. Or if somebody comes good morning, what do we say? He greeted me in the what? In the morning. You don't have to change. You don't have to say he good morninged me in the morning. Huh? And the next one, happy birthday. What do we say? He wished me. He wished me a happy what? Happy birthday. So this is the way that we can what? Change. If I say, for example, hello, how should I change it now? He said hello. You have to do your best to find a possible way to convey your message. That's all, okay? Now, that's all about direct and indirect speech.